Welcome to the Chronicles. I'm Devin Jordan. I'm with Rob McIntyre and Trace Armstrong. Merry Christmas, probably by the time you listen to this, or I guess we're going to get this out on Christmas Eve. So happy Christmas Eve. We're here to talk about episode 3 of Double Agents. Rob and I had some technical difficulties while we were trying to watch this before we recorded, but we made it. This was, I guess, Robin, we didn't talk about it, or none of us talked about it yet. What did we think about, if we gave this episode a grade, what do we think this would deserve?
I thought it was solid. Like, Devin and I were definitely throwing flaws back and forth while we were watching it, but I thought it was solid.
Oh my God. There were some, but the challenge, like, what the fuck? Like, the concept of the actual physical challenge was good, right? They're on a truck. It's strength on strength, push someone off. You see a demonstration of someone's true physical ability. But then I don't even know the tournament format of this, or the lack thereof, in the sense that it's pretty much the luck of the draw of who you get paired with determines whether or not you win the challenge for episode 3.
Yeah, then also, you and I both pointed this out there as soon as it came up, like, okay, if two people are just even close to being aligned with each other, one of them just walks off the side and gives the power to the other team and slides to deal with them.
Well, you pointed that out, but right when the challenge started, you said, so are they going to do a round robin here, or what are they going to do? I was like, no, dude.
Yeah,
they said that
I wasn't sure what.
I was like, TJ said that they were going to do a random drawing for who they win against. So that just made me think right off the bat that it was just a one and you're done.
I get.
But one thing that stuck out from this challenge more than anything is the one thing. Sorry, let me try that again. I'm tired, everyone. It's after 10:30, so we're actually recording. Like, we literally stopped watching the episode 10 minutes ago, so we're jumping right in. So, essentially, I think they were wrestling on top of those trucks for a long time, because a timeout happened between, who was it? Kyle and
Devin and Darrell and Leo had one.
They had a tie.
PT and Fessy had one.
And at one point, TJ said, all right, you got 10 minutes, and they had already been wrestling a while. So I have a feeling. Really? Yes, TJ legitimately said, you've got 10 more minutes, get it done while they're going. I think that they were doing like a 20 to 30 minute, like, actuality of battle. Like, I think they were up there forever. And so from a formatting standpoint, I understand why they didn't do round robin, but then I'm like, well, just make the time shorter. Just say you've got 5 minutes, and if nobody wins, you're both out. Like, I feel like the round robin format works better, but the way they did it, it was like a 20 or 30 minute time cap.
Well, not a round robin. Round robin's everybody goes against everybody, a tournament style.
Well, I meant like elimination. Sorry,
yeah,
more like the NCAA tournament.
Something more than competing against one other team that you were randomly drawn against. So I had an issue with that. And then, what was the other thing? I forgot it. Go ahead. I don't know. I was at least glad to see Nam and Lolo do well, since I have so much riding on them throughout this season. And it's not that it told me a lot. It was just that for Nam to be as good as I have positioned him to be to this point, that's what should have been expected. You know what I mean? That was like the bare minimum. He should have done that. Same with Lolo.
Do we know? Yeah, I wish we would have gotten times on it, because we never.
Oh, that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
because we have no.
Because we don't know, like.
We have no idea how far apart first and second place were. We have no idea how much Leroy beat. Who was in second? Well, do we even know who was in second?
No.
I mean, yeah, it was either Wes and Natalie, or him and Lolo.
I think they did tell us,
and we don't know individually how like long each. Like, we know, okay, like Nam beat Jay faster than Lolo beat Teresa, but we don't know like how long any of them took.
Yeah,
no, with these people editing, like, remember the mission they had last season where they edited? It was like getting the cars out of gridlock, and they gave the team that won significantly more time in the mission, so it seemed like they took longer, and then they got the win because just power of editing. They can show however many people for however long they want.
I think it's bizarre to me that in a show where they're doing 90-minute episodes, back with Fresh Meat 1, they showed like a clip of everybody competing plus their time, so you could kind of keep track of everything as it was going. And that was without commercials, a 22-minute episode. We had a 90-minute show with commercials, and we don't get a single time or even an idea of who came in second or third. To me, that's just like, really, guys? Like, I know your focus is on gameplay, but the daily is a huge part of the politics and the whole show. Like, give us some more info.
Evaluate the competitors. Like, we want to be able to evaluate how well everybody did. I just think I think they always like to keep us in the dark on these things.
Yeah, I think I get why they do it. I get that they want to try and keep suspense, but I feel like they lose more by trying to keep suspense than they gain by just telling us what the times were, right?
I think for my purposes, definitely the case. I'm curious how the average viewer, like the average show viewer would feel. But
what do you think they're going to do?
I always would appreciate, like, because I'm watching for, like, obviously there's a ton of stuff I like about the show, but I like the competitive aspect is what's going to be driving a lot of my attention, and for it to be kept so discreet all the time can be annoying.
Like, do they think people are just going to like tune out because they like know who wins the challenge? Like, so this is the other thing.
No,
so this is,
I think, but like
we've talked about this before. This is one of my least favorite styles of challenge. The fact that it was a good challenge setup, right? The actual competition part, that was good. But this was one of the styles of challenge where it's super repetitive and you see the same thing over and over and over for 15 minutes.
It's also just inefficient. Like, I always prefer the missions where everybody's competing at once, because you get to see how everybody interacts with everybody, and then you also get it's also quicker. Like, you don't have to go through everybody's turn, and then
different things.
It's just one of those. Yeah, this is also just one of those 4 trailer missions. Like, they have so many missions this season that are just clearly for the promos, and like this mission was all over every promo. So this is just one of those ones where, okay, we can show a car flying through, explosions popping up. That's what this is done for. And then we haven't even talked about how 2 people got injured on it.
Yeah, we'll get there. Oddly enough, though, I actually don't mind the challenge. I don't even mind the execution of the challenge. What I don't like is feeling like I'm missing information. And I feel like in this mission in particular, I was missing a lot of information. And to me, it's like, okay, you want to talk about creating suspense, all that kind of stuff. Well, you edit the show way after it actually happens. Why not just change the order in the editing of who went first, who went second, and you can build the suspense that way instead of just keeping everybody in the dark. Like, there are editing ways where they could accomplish the same thing, but still give us information. So I don't know. If you're going to show 20 seconds of 2 teams competing, at least put the final time on there for me. Like, throw me a bone here.
I just don't think it's going to happen. I just think they've never been, well, not never, but the past 2 seasons, they just have not done that to any degree. They've always liked to keep suspense as much as possible. They're always going to go for like the low-hanging fruit of what's, like, enjoyable in the show.
Yeah. So should we talk about the injuries now? Because my gosh, the second Nicole came up, I was like, her shoulder's dislocated. Like, it's popped out. And sure enough, man, that bone was poking.
That was bad. Like, you could tell Cam too was motioning for the producer. And then, I mean, you see, like, when Devin and I were watching, like, I asked him to pause on the confessional because I could tell her arm was in a sling and like she was just done. I mean, you do feel bad for her. Like, I know a lot of people don't like her as much as a competitor, but I mean, she has yet to lose an elimination still, and she's now this is the second time now she's leaving a season for injury. The last time was when she was in a final and was like the best female competitor on the season to that point. Like, I think I just feel bad for her, man.
Have they gotten the cast? Have there been cast speculation for the next season yet?
There have been calls coming out.
Has she been contacted, or is she in the running?
They hadn't had significant speculation yet.
I mean, I would assume she got an availability call. Whether that turns into being cast, who knows? Yeah, I mean, there are people that haven't been on the show in 10 years that get availability calls.
When are they supposed to leave?
March.
Really? They're not going to leave until March?
I mean, the season's not going to finish. The season's not going to end until April.
Yeah, they're going to wait until the week before they leave to like film a reunion and stuff.
They also were just filming a season. Like, this season wrapped up not long ago at all.
It wrapped up like the week after or week of Thanksgiving. So they had like they left in, it was like right before Thanksgiving or right at Thanksgiving this ended. So they turned the season around in about 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
That is nuts.
So they were probably editing. They were definitely editing the episodes that we're watching now before they even knew what was happening.
Yes.
Oh, it's already edited. Definitely.
That's why I say you cannot put a whole lot of stock in the edit of these characters right now, because they were totally editing these episodes while the challenge was still filming. So anyone that's on, and I've seen this already come up on Reddit, if you're trying to judge this season based on an edgic thing, you're way off. You are already way off.
Do people really talk about that?
Yes. I have seen several people.
I think that's taking it a step too. Edgic, they have like formulas, and it's basically a scientific process.
Yeah, they have a
challenge and like any sort of edit analysis. People will try to do some scientific stuff to it. It's not. There's not.
Dude,
it's not because the challenge is not like a 1-to-1 type thing with Edgic. Like I've always. I think it's insane to think they're not going to go back and edit the series a different way based on the outcome of the season. I think that's insane. But I don't think that it's a scientific process like in Survivor.
I mean, I think they're still editing the end of the season right now because it only wrapped about 4 weeks ago. So I have a hard time buying that.
That's definitely possible to trace, but they're also like, I mean, they edit stuff quickly all the time. They edited that D episode a day before it came out last season. So
they edited stuff out. They did not re-edit the episode. There's a huge difference. They hit the delete button.
But I'm saying, like, they know the winner or winners of the season now, so they can go back and edit some of the smaller parts of the footage still.
So
they could, but I would also argue, like, why would they? Like, if they already have the episode
they want to tell the narrative of the season. If something's important to the overall outcome and story of the season, they want it to be shown.
I don't think they've ever been really good at that, though. Like, I think there are definitely instances where they do that. I don't
know if I agree with that.
I think there are definitely instances where they do that, but by and large, I don't know how much of a priority that they make it.
I would actually say that in earlier seasons, and I'm not talking Inferno 2 era, I'm talking like the Rivals era for a while there, the gap between seasons was way longer. So they had a lot more time to edit the series, look at the footage, and decide how they wanted to edit people. Now the seasons are so close together, they're so long, I have a hard time buying that they're able to craft a narrative for an entire season like they used to. Because, I mean, Total Madness, the one thing that we all said at the end of the season was the last few episodes felt like paint by numbers. And sure, that's a part of the challenge a lot of times, is the last few episodes, nothing really exciting happens until you get to a final. But at the same time, if they're editing these episodes as quickly as they can to get them ready to air, if nothing happens, they're not looking at the overall narrative. They're just guessing the best they can and putting something on the screen.
I don't know, dude. I think they can edit these things pretty quickly. They didn't just edit that D episode. They edited every episode towards the end of that season. Like, she wasn't on screen and all that. I can guarantee that wasn't how the story was going to play out before other stuff off screen happened. So I think they can put these things together pretty quickly.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So I think they're going to be editing it like the whole way, pretty much.
But I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I don't buy that it's too quick of a turnaround, that they can't get the narrative across, that they're not going to go back and edit the narrative at the beginning of the episodes.
I said that. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think I said that.
I think that's crazy. I think it's just like they're going to tell the story of the season, and you can suss out how different things are. Like, Devin, you even go back when we're like rewatching The Island, and how they make a point to show Evelyn saying she would never go back and join with Kenny and Johnny. Like, it's not, obviously it's going to be different than what it would be on Survivor, where there's only one winner and that's consistent season by season. But they're going to make sure the overall narrative and how the season was won is shown.
Yeah, but they also make Johnny look terrible, right? So I guess.
Well,
so are you saying
different thing though? Like,
I think what you're saying. So on Survivor, what they try and do is they try and make their winner look good, but on the challenge, you're saying that they just tell the story of what happened, right? Is that what you're saying?
Like, they're not going to make Smashley look good before she steals Hunter's money. They're going to tell the story of the season. They're going to say why is Smashley stealing Hunter's money.
But do we think that they're, and this is me asking, I don't know, I haven't thought about this, and I would need to think about it for a while. Do we think that there is, through them telling that story week by week, do we think that there's some type of predictability or in that story that we're telling that we can see in that moment and be able to make a prediction and forecast about what the ultimate outcome is?
I think so. I mean, I have had seasons before where I've been able, like, there's like Final Reckoning was one season, honestly, where it did throw me off a lot in terms of the edit. Like, I didn't think Smashing 100 were going to win because I thought they were so negative. And then eventually the ending happens. You're like, oh, that's why they did that. And then like War of the Worlds 1, I actually think might be the best example in recent seasons with Turbo.
I mean, I think it's good that we're doing this now, right? So we did it last season, and we definitely did not get it.
Well, we called Johnny. I called Johnny really early in the season. Like I almost said, after episode 2, I was like, Bananas is winning.
We had Johnny and Jenny pretty much the whole way.
I thought you guys were saying that Corey.
I didn't call Jenny.
I called Jenny.
I thought
I was on that train early.
Who did you were? I was not.
Who did you guys say for the women last year? I can't even remember.
I had Jenny most of the way. I think I had like 1 week where I had Casey in, but I had Jenny.
I think I had D a good bit of the way. And then after that episode that occurred and the edit, it was really hard to tell what the hell was going on. So I think I threw up my hands when it came to the female side and it was just guessing week to week.
We can go back and check, dude. I had Jenny the whole way through. This was a narrative throughout the entire season last season where you kept espousing how much you love Jenny, and then I was the one who had her number one in the winners picks the whole time.
No,
I just know that at one point early, I jumped on the banana train and rode it because I felt like the way they were showcasing him, it was like, this is the Bananas redemption season.
I think I might have had a few weeks where I had Corey at the top, but I had Johnny pretty much the whole way through too. What? I didn't really see anybody besides Johnny or Corey winning for the guys.
What spreadsheet was this in?
I don't know. You had the Google Doc. I don't know.
Say that again.
Anyway.
You're the one who has the spreadsheet. I have no idea.
I'll find it.
Yeah. All right. While you figure that out, who was the other person that got injured?
Rob's Michi's partner.
Okay.
And we didn't really get a conclusion. Like hers didn't seem to be as bad as Nicole because she wasn't DQ'd relatively immediately. But they did say like they're going to go back and check up on her, so she couldn't even be eliminated at the beginning of the next episode.
I'm with you, and I think she's going to get booted. I really do.
I kind of do too. Like I think, I don't know. Like just when you see her arm like that, like when it's not on the sleeve of her shirt and she's in the sling, like we just saw how physical these missions can be. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to be doing Hollow Brawl next week. Like,
yeah, come on. Pretty much, it's like okay. I was looking really closely at the elimination for her, and I can't swear that I didn't see her, but I can't also say that I definitely didn't see her at the elimination either.
Oh, like at the Wes versus Devin elimination, you're saying?
Yeah, because the is she going home or not thing would have happened the morning of that elimination, and I could totally see them coming back and, re-editing the beginning of next episode to have her gone. Like, they've done that kind of stuff before.
They had a lot of content to fill this episode, especially since the mission took so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and there's so much stuff I want to get to on the politics. So hopefully Devin has about found the sheet, and if not, we'll move on.
No, I'll keep going. I'm gonna be looking for this until we're done, probably.
Okay, so where do we want to go?
I'm looking at utilities spreadsheets from like 5 years ago.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to start this piece of the conversation off because I felt like it's going to get missed because it happened early in the episode. Fessy is one of the dumbest challenge players I've seen in a long time. What he did at the beginning of that episode was just stupid, like just beyond insanely stupid. What was he thinking revealing the secret and just exposing it to all the people not in his alliance before he tells the people he's actually working with? Like, does he just want to paint a big target on his back? Because they didn't show Anissa talking about him doing that once in the episode. And I'm sure when she found out, she was furious.
I don't think he thought it was that big of a deal.
Oh, he's dumber than I thought he was then.
I think I get where like Corey and that side of the house were coming from, but I didn't know if I would have waited at that big of a deal either.
I think it was because he and Anissa had information that no one else in the house had. Why would you volunteer that information until you have to? Maybe the next team that wins decides to keep that under their hat too. Like, why reveal that? And now the entire house knows, oh, if I win the daily mission, I'm going to see how everyone in the house voted, which means I know knowledge that no one else has. I know who's lying to who. And to me, it directly affected the vote that happened at the end of the episode because everyone knew that if they were lying, they were going to get caught now.
Yeah.
So it made the vote like just a very easy traditional challenge vote where a bandwagon forms, and that's what happens.
That's true. I think They at the beginning of the episode was interesting. How about the confessional outfit so far this season? By the way, just straight fire all the way through. Cam with her fur coat, just bringing that back.
Yeah,
like people.
No,
were calling,
I'm a fan.
Like people were calling it like Kyle and Fessy's outfits before. I think Cam in the fur coat still the one to beat.
It's pretty good.
I feel like we need to do like a top 4 best and worst confessional get-ups.
The best one is Kenny Maria when he wore the Cara Maria wig in Rivals 1.
Wear that, or was that like photoshopped in?
Oh no, that was legit. He legitimately wore that wig.
The worst has to be Jordan last season with the overalls and the Peaky Blinders haircut with the.
That was really bad.
Like that, there's just so much going on with that one. Like any one of those things is enough, and then he's got like 4 different like crazy items he's doing.
Where does Puck in Sex is 1 rank?
Oh, that's a good call.
That was good too.
Puck in the camouflage face paint, like, come on, dude. That's the hard.
That's the only good thing about Sex is 1 is Puck. Other than that, it's literally a waste of tape.
Dude, him with the machete is just insane.
We could do a recap of Sex is 1 and what actually happens in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, instead of the 4 hours that it was.
The interesting content, definitely.
That's it.
We might have to do that and replace our old Sex is 1 show with that.
We're just gonna make it 10 minutes and say, listen, this used to be 4 hours. Let's just call this spade a spade. After Puck leaves, the guys win. Done.
I found
it. So we started.
All right, what do we got?
Episode 6 of last season. Rob had Jenny, Casey. Yep, Jenny, Casey all the way through. I had Jenny and...
I thought I had 1 week where I had Casey ahead.
Episode 9. And then you had... randomly at the end, you had Jenny D. And then you had Jenny D at episode 13, too. At some point, you switched to Jenny D after episode
Maybe
9.
just without it weird the edit. Okay.
And then we didn't do it for a couple weeks in the middle. And then I had Jenny, Tori. So both of us, right from the bat, started off with Jenny is the ones. We had Jenny as number 1 all the way through. And then you guys had... Rob and I both had Johnny as number 1. And then you had Johnny, Corey. I had Johnny, Rogan. And then Trace had Corey 1. And then Bananas 2. Yeah, I mean, so we were pretty much on. Last season,
and if I remember right, the Jenny one was because the weak female cast kind of made it really easy who the top 3 or 4 women were because the rest were not winning.
Yeah, I just didn't think there was any chance that any of the competitors that were left on the season were going to be able to.
You were debating Casey versus Jenny the whole time before that final started. You were
No, I was not. That's why, dude. I told you we have this on record.
Go back and listen to the episode that we did before the final.
Wait, say that again. Why do you think I was screaming that? I was screaming that she was going to wipe the floor with them.
No, I think I was the episode before the final, Devin. Re-listen to the episode before the final. Guarantee you were torn.
That's the whole reason.
I know
we were
I
arguing,
was
right? Why were we
no,
arguing?
I was always on Jenny. I was always on Jenny.
No, dude. No. Go back and listen to the episode.
I'm telling you,
we were literally
1,000,000%. Devin, I am 1,000,000% confident. You were torn.
We were screaming about this. What were you saying then? We were screaming in this episode, and I remember saying that it was going to be Jenny.
No, we were screaming about a different argument. We had a different argument about Jenny, where I said she shouldn't be in the new school like group of cast members if they do like an old school versus.
No. What it was, I remember what it was. You said that you didn't think she was one of the top women on the show right now, and I thought that was crazy.
That's what the argument was, though. Yeah, that's what the argument was. Is because we were doing like that OG's cast, and you were saying she was in like top 5 of people since like Rivals 1 or something.
Yeah, I think she is. she beat
also,
Johnny last season. She finished first overall.
I understand. Yeah, Devin, this was before she had done anything.
Yeah, but like that's the whole point. You have to be able to like project somewhat on these people.
Well, but I understand. But if you're doing that type of thing, you're going to go off of the person's track record as much as anything. It's the part of the thing is their equity on the show.
I don't know. Like this is like all being able to try and give some forecast of what you think will happen. That's why I think Lolo and Nam are that's why they've been my favorites from the beginning. I don't think anyone can hold a stick to them athletically, and I think they both are likable enough by everyone else in the house that will assist them along the way.
Significantly about Lolo. That's not.
I feel like Lolo's a powder keg waiting to explode.
That is not.
Right,
that is.
You still haven't given me any odds to bet on. I'm ready to bet on this, Rob. I'll give
you a Lolo versus Natalie placing bet.
A Lolo versus Natalie?
That's a tough one.
What do you want?
That's a tough one.
So do you think Natalie will do better than Lolo?
I think Natalie places higher than Lolo.
No way. Let's do this right now then. Let's bet. Even money.
All right. How much do we want to do?
$20. Sure. I'll bet as much as you want. You name the number, we'll bet it.
We'll stick with 20 for now. Maybe we can keep adding on.
There's other bets we'll have throughout the season. But all right, so Rob believes that Natalie places higher than Lolo, and Devin believes that Lolo places higher than Natalie overall. Okay. All right. It's noted.
What's gonna end up happening here too is I'm gonna all right, we're gonna go have like a Cam versus Lolo the same bet next week. We'll have like a different person versus Lolo the same bet next week. They'll have a Nam versus Nam bet.
No, I actually believe that the most interesting combo at the moment is Lolo versus Natalie, just because physically Natalie did really well in that elimination. She's got some political smarts because she won Survivor. And then you've got Lolo, who's an athletic beast, but politically, that's going to be really dicey at some point. Like, I still think she's going to lose her mind.
If you watch her for a whole season of reality TV show, I just don't see how she's going to hang in this environment. And with Nam, we just haven't seen it yet.
She hasn't gotten a ton of
He's competed in a similar show, but that's not.
See, that's not
a different situation.
They're still doing a lot of different things that we haven't seen him have to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, this is Lolo's first show. I mean, she did the Champs season, but they were in a hotel in Marina Del Rey. They had their own hotel rooms. They could watch TV.
Still melting down constantly.
Yeah, like the isolation piece of this. They were doing
it for charity.
Yeah, the isolation piece of this is going to get to her at some point. I guarantee it.
And like with Nam too, he has no background in any sort of like political capability with this. I mean,
neither did Turbo.
Yeah, he did. He won Survivor.
I thought you told me that Turkish Survivor is completely different. I thought you said it was like all about surviving, isn't it?
Political aspect, though. No. It's a competitive. There's a competitive. It's a lot more competitive, like physically.
The challenges are way more physically competitive, whereas on Survivor America, there are some janky carnival game challenges.
And there's like a little bit more of like a fan vote aspect to it too. But you have to be able to hang. I mean, he never went into elimination that season. Like you have to be able to hang politically.
We've had people that are not good politically win. Like Jenny was not great politically last season.
Okay, yeah, but she tethered herself for the right horses, though.
Yeah, and I think
D gifted her a skull.
He's capable. We haven't seen him do it, and it seems like there's already a pretty like well set infrastructure of who's going to be in control here. That he's not a part of.
So who are you betting me on with Nam? Pick someone out.
I'll take Darrell versus Nam.
All right, how much you want to bet?
We'll do another 15 on Darrell versus Nam.
I'm gonna just use the Drew Lock money on that one.
Devin, usually I'm on your side. I think Rob wins both of those bets.
Nah, dude, I'm feeling good.
I really do.
I think you are. What are you seeing with Nam so much? Just that he's got 12-pack abs?
No, dude, he's great physically. I think he's probably the best physically on the cast, and if he's not the best, he's close, right?
I think Darrell's a freaking.
He's also very. He couldn't even get Leo off the platform today. They timed out.
Yeah, Darrell's also the king of tanking early emissions. He's done that like every time he's been on a show.
Yeah, that's also true. He stays out of the political crosshairs.
And I think Nam is doing a good job of that too. He's also very unassuming. You know what I mean? I think that goes a long way on these shows. Like he's not going to go out there and like make any enemies.
Sure, but that can also mean he's not going to make a ton of close friends either.
You don't necessarily know that.
But if you're saying he's unassuming, like that would mean he's a little bit more standoffish. Like we're not even sure, like what.
No, I'm saying that
and I mean,
he's not going to.
the only. I mean, him and his partner voted differently on this vote, and he was voting with Wes, who's gone, and with the alliance that's not only in the minority, keeps splintering off.
Where did he vote the first couple of times?
I think he was he in the first vote he voted for CT. I remember that. Last week, I think he voted for Joseph. I'm not sure. But yeah, he seems very much right now with like a man without a country.
Tell Trace about our wager that fell through at the last hour right before the.
Oh wow, this one I tried to get live odds on the Wes versus Devin elimination, and Devin was like he was giving me like minus 400, so we ended up just not doing it. And turns out I would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah, I was all in on Devin winning that because I felt like Wes mentally. Yeah, I felt like Wes kind of the moment Wes got called in, I saw mentally he was not ready to win that.
He's been really he seemed really out of it, like this season and even in the postseason a little bit. Like I think he really thought he had a good shot of winning coming into the season. Like he was working out a ton. He had been able to maneuver some pretty good political connections, seemingly, and then he just came into the house, and it was just not going to happen with how the setup was.
Yeah, Cam pretty much made him public enemy number one, and he was just going to have to fight from underneath like the ruins the entire time. And I could tell mentally he was checking out, even though I really believe, I don't believe Wes would throw an elimination. I just don't think that's him.
Well, I think it was just like with the Bear one. He just didn't seem like he put his full effort. Like he just didn't feel like he put his full effort into it.
I just think mentally he just wasn't able to give the performance that he would want to. And so I think like against Johnny, I felt like he tried his hardest and he lost straight up. This time I felt like mentally he was not prepared to win. He was not prepared to have to go against his arguably best friend outside of the house that was in the house with him. So it's like, what was he going to do? And he knew Devin probably needed the money. Wes doesn't necessarily need the money. So it's hard to like get psyched up for that when it's a no-win situation for Wes in that elimination.
Yeah. And I really, one of the reasons why I was pretty like set on him, Leroy, and Cam, I really thought the three of them were going to work together going into the season because he and Leroy had actually seemed to have a pretty good relationship going in. Like, I remember one part in particular I've talked about it a few times, but that cameo interview that he, TJ, Jenna, and Bananas did. TJ asked him like who hasn't won the show that would deserve to win it the most, and he immediately says Leroy, and he just seemed really like appreciative of it. So I really thought the three of them were going to, and like recent seasons they had kind of actually fallen on the same side politically, so I really thought they were going to work together, but that didn't seem to be in the cards. And I mean, you kind of get it from Leroy. He seems to actually have a lot of options right now.
Yeah. The one thing that I am unanimous on, though, like just will not move me off this hill. I cannot stand Cam. Like, she annoys me so much. Like, she walks around and does these confessionals like she is the queen of the show, that she has won all of these challenges and that people need to follow her lead. I'm like, you haven't won a challenge yet. You actually have to win a challenge to be the queen. Right now, you are the queen in name only and not in reputation. Win a challenge, then we can talk. I cannot stand her on my TV right now.
Yeah, I think I would have, like, that's how I felt coming into the season. For whatever reason, though, I don't know why. She's bothered me a little bit less. And I don't know what reason I have for that, but that's kind of how I feel.
I lost you guys for a minute there.
Well, you're back. Let's keep going.
Okay. Well, let's keep rolling.
Did you hear what we were talking about? We were talking about Cam. Did you hear Trace's diatribe?
I heard Trace's first like 2 words, and then I lost it. It's fine. Let's just keep rolling. What were we on?
The summation is I can't stand Cam, and I'm tired of her acting like she's the queen of the challenge when she still hasn't won yet. Until you win, you cannot. I mean, I appreciate her swagger and I appreciate her character. There's no doubt about that.
I just think it's actually nice to have a little bit of a different flavor of character on the show. Like, I think, I mean, there's a lot of people who are overconfident, but I think she at least has a unique brand of confidence than everybody else has.
I would say she has a little bit of irrational confidence, right? Because she at this point? What's her highest placing at this point?
Well, what do you consider her placing on War of the Worlds 2?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about pairs and
like vendettas. I mean,
singles.
she gets rolled on vendettas because she's the only person who loses the card game and has to dig buries something in the ground.
What was her?
And then on Final Reckoning, she does exceptionally well with Kaylee as a partner.
Her first season was vendettas.
All caveats are present there, but I think she's a very good competitor.
All right, so
she's found her way into the power group again. She's been able to do that.
I mean, I am not denying she's not a good competitor. I am saying she is not the queen of the challenge, and she portrays herself like she has this amazing track record of winning challenges and that people need to listen and do what she says. And to me, she hasn't earned that reputation yet.
But I think it's an effective strategy.
Maybe it's an effective strategy. As a viewer and a longtime viewer of the show, I want to see you actually back this up. If she wins this season, then she deserves every bit of accolade and swagger that she has portrayed. If she loses again, I'm going to call her all bark, no bite. Win a show, and then you can talk.
You have a 1 in 15 shot of showing up on these things. That's a hard hill to climb. Like people like Tina back in the day had sort of a similar type of confidence without accomplishing a ton. I think it's I have always appreciated her character on the show. I just like that it's just something different than everybody else's, and she actually brings a heavy strategic element to the game, which definitely a lot of people don't.
But I think it's like what Devin said, where he said she has irrational confidence, but she just
how irrational has her confidence been? She's been able to find her way into the power group almost every time.
Well, she's
finding her way into the power group and winning the season are two different things, though.
Completely. So, Rob, what were her finishes? Go over this again for me. I don't remember these.
So vendettas. Vendettas again. It's just hard to say where she placed exactly because she was the only one who had to do the rock thing, and then the way they split it up, they didn't really show. She didn't make the next portion. Basically, is what ended up happening.
But she didn't make the final puzzle.
Yeah, she was ahead of Kayla that whole final, and then she was in second for the females, and then the digging the thing set her back, and Kayla was way behind.
So she was in the final
reckoning. What's that?
She was in the final episode for that.
Yeah, she was in the final. Well, and then also Vendetta's the final episode isn't even the final episode because they don't even show who wins. But on final reckoning, she ends up in 6th because she and Kaylee lose the purge where they're moving the boulder towards the end. But she and Kaylee were very good that season. Like she wins how many eliminations that season? Like a decent amount, and again politically she pulls off an exceptionally highly difficult maneuver there. World of the Worlds 1 is probably, I would say, her most disappointing season because she only wins the 1 elimination. But I mean, World of the Worlds 1 is a really stacked cast, though. Like it's
who did she lose to there?
Hard to say. Like losing to Polly and Ninja in that elimination is that much of a black mark. And then World of the Worlds 2, she makes the final with the US team, but then just loses on the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would have a different opinion if she actually had won one to this point.
I just think winning these things is so freaking random sometimes.
I don't know. You got to win one at some point. Or she's been.
I don't know that it's completely.
Hold on, real quick. At this point, is her track record that much different than Kyle's? Like they've gone about as far into seasons.
No, dude, she's been way more consistent than
Kyle. Goes deep into. Kyle's been in 2 different finals. Has he ever really gone home early?
Let's see.
War of the Worlds 2 was his earliest exit, right?
Yeah, War of the Worlds 2. He's the 4th guy to go home. 5th guy.
Yeah, in a team season, but I still agree politically. Like that was not his finest hour.
And then
I just, I actually want to push back on you on that. Like the winners of these things are so random. Like I'm sitting here going over my head of the last few seasons, aside from Final Reckoning, because I pushed that one to the side for a lot of reasons. But World of the Worlds 1 really wasn't like randomness. Turbo was just the best
that's
athlete.
A very equitable final. They ran 50 miles.
War of the Worlds 2. I mean, CT, Rogan, they had less people. They also didn't have the issues of the personalities clashing on.
I mean, I think that was very clearly that they had higher, like their And for like the way that the final was set up, it was much easier for them to run it. And like the U.S. team would have been better the entire season.
But I would also argue that even though, the U.S. side and Cam's alliance dominated. No, that's the thing. She could not hold together a team that had Bananas, Wes, Jordan, Tori. 2 of them they got rid of. The other 2 went to the other team. So it's also kind of like, are you really that great politically? Because you're letting some of the best players in challenge history either go home or go to the other team. So I don't really buy that argument all that much. The better team won that final. And then you get to Total Madness. Bananas deserved every bit of that win, as did Jenny. Like, so even going to Dirty 30, Jordan and Derek were neck and neck that whole way through. I feel like Jordan completely earned that win. So I don't know that I'm able to buy the randomness other than maybe Invasion, just because of the format. That was really random.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was necessarily random. It was, they just forced it so rookies would be there at the end, which is one of my least favorite formats. Yeah, and then even before that, what's the most random winner? So then before that, we have Johnny and Sarah, then Cara, Maria, and Jamie. Jordan and Sarah, Laurel and Johnny.
Landon and Carly.
I think it has to be the War of the Worlds UK team, right?
No, I don't even think that's that random. I think Landon and Carly was the last crazy one.
Because, dude, by the end of it, all the people that had made Team US good and made Team UK bad were no longer in the same positions they were at the start of the game.
I mean, it was a very different makeup, but I was just saying, like, having Dee and Rogan win this season after they hadn't had as much of a track record. They proved themselves to be good competitors the next season, though.
So, like, where do we think she finishes this year? Let's transition back into this
Cam?
season, I guess, talking that. Yeah.
I think she makes the final, but she's going to come in, like, 3rd.
Yeah, so I think her her political ability far exceeds her physical prowess. I don't think of the women that will most likely.
Where would you have her physically on the cast right now, like specifically?
Are we talking about physically for a final or physically overall?
We'll say overall.
Okay, if we're just talking overall,
I think I'd have Lolo and Natalie ahead of her, and then
yep.
But like probably after that, like I guess Casey, but like she has a decent amount bigger than Casey.
What about Teresa, your girl?
No, she's better than Teresa physically.
What about Tori? I think they're pretty even, to be honest.
I think they're very close. I might lean a little bit towards Cam, but that's definitely a ballpark comparison.
And see, it's interesting. Like, if you were to say, okay, great, overall, I would agree with you. But if you were to say in a final, is Cam going to beat Tori heads up? I would probably put money on Tori. Is she going to beat Lolo heads up? Hell no. Lolo's going to mop the floor with her. Casey, I would pick Casey over Cam.
In a
we
final,
haven't seen Lolo do like any carnival game stuff though.
In a final, I'd put my money on Casey, Lolo, Natalie, maybe Tori. I would probably put it on Tori, but I think it's pretty close.
In the final between all of them.
And then I would probably put it at, are we talking about of the people remaining or including people that have gone home?
I think what's remaining. I think we have to go off the information we have of what would happen.
I would have bet on Ashley probably before her. What about, I'm honestly kind of close on, definitely Natalie Anderson, right? Wouldn't you bet on her?
No, I think I'd have number one out of everybody left.
Who, Cam?
No, I said have Natalie number one out of everybody left.
Oh, Natalie. Okay. What about Teresa? You said Teresa? No, honestly, like, I think that's kind of a toss-up for me.
I could see Teresa beating her in a final versus beating her more so in like a physical competition.
I feel like Cam could beat Teresa in an elimination. I don't know that Cam can beat Teresa in a final.
I think she definitely could. I think it would be very close. I mean, Teresa was awesome on that the X's2 final if you go back and watch it. And like Cam, I mean, it's hard. War of the Worlds 2 final is just hard to say just because of how things shook out. She wasn't the problem for that team though.
No, unfortunately, Polly was the one that had the problem.
I just think that final is just like the way that the weight's distributed to have so many more girls than guys, especially compared to the other team.
But see, that's another piece of that tells the political game is garbage at times.
So
It's just hard for me to weight them getting rid of the good players on our team politically when everybody thought it was going to go to individuals.
Who would be her best comparison for a male competitor? Like, who is her doppelganger for the men? Kyle doesn't seem bad.
Is it kind of Wes?
No, because Wes actually has
way too
won
much
2
credit. Way too much credit. And he's
Well,
actually
in terms of just where they finish strictly or how they play.
But you have to take both into account here. Like, I think you have to go how they play plus how they finished. And Wes has won 2 finals. And even though Cam might think she's in the political realm of Wes, and maybe she is, I'm not saying she's not there. But overall, as a player, Wes is way higher on that depth chart than her as the male equivalent.
I feel like what you think of Cam is what I think of Jenny.
I mean, I think they're just such different players, though.
I know, but I'm just speaking as far as
I'd rather on
overall
relatively similar planes as overall players. Like, there would be situations where I think it would be better for a season than Cam.
Dude, come on. I think Jenny is far superior to Cam.
I think it just depends on the setup.
I just can't.
I think it's good that we're talking about this because to this point she's the main character of the season, right?
Well, I think you could say Fessy's the main character.
Who?
I think you could say Fessy's the main character.
I would actually agree with Rob there. I feel like Fessy has gotten... Cam was invisible last episode. Like, just got next to 0 screen time last episode.
She had a few more confessionals probably than you would remember. But yeah, it was definitely... I think Fessy's had the most consistent screen time overall. Which is interesting because the whole rap out of him coming out of his last season was he was a good competitor, but he was never on screen.
And see, I think it's because of the fact that they won the first 2 in the political situation with the Big Brother Alliance. And then I think this episode, the dumb move he did at the beginning of the episode was kind of the blasting cap to what the rest of the episode played out with. So like, even though he maybe wasn't on screen last year, the decisions he's made at the beginning of this year have made him a focal point, but that doesn't mean in 2 episodes he's going to go back to being invisible, because by the end of the episode, he was invisible.
But it's hard to say he goes back to being invisible by the end of the episode. Like, if he's not involved in the narrative for the last 20 minutes, like, that's not that significant.
Trace,
I'm with you, but I'm just saying, like, if he's not, then, you know, I mean, next episode, we might not see him much. I mean, I just don't know that it's going to be consistent so far.
Trace, guess what moment Rob and I started dying laughing in the episode when we were watching it?
Oh, please tell me it was when Josh lied his ass off in the kitchen about the pizza thing, where he goes and tells CT that Casey was crying, and CT was like, really? Oh, let me go apologize. I'm so sorry then. And then he gets in there and it's like, oh, shoot.
It was right before that.
Slightly before that. It was when it was still like percolating. You know what I mean? The water was just about to boil. There was a little foam.
The fact that she was trying to cook a pizza on the stove.
No, it was when that's comical, but it was when CT starts talking to Casey. And the editors had begun to set the scene and show where everyone was right before the drama had happened. Josh was talking with Nani. CT was talking to Casey. Josh was overhearing the conversation between CT and Casey. And they flashed to a confessional where Josh says, you know, I really don't want to get involved. And then we just started to crack the fuck up, dude.
Bullshit. I maintain that Josh decided he wanted some camera time, and he saw a way to get some camera time.
Pat texted me right as we were about to start recording. He says he hates Josh, but he's the best character on the show. I think
I don't mind him the way that you guys do.
How much of a middle school fight was that? Like, seriously. There's that, and then afterwards, I think with Devin, where Devin says Big Brother sucks, and then it's legitimately like Josh is personally aggrieved by him saying that.
Dude, I think he was just blacked out drunk. That's just what I think.
That's what happened. All of us must have been drunk, right?
How old do you think he is?
Or at least Devin and Josh.
What's your guess?
Oh, Josh, he's probably
29.
I'm going to say he's 27.
How old is he? I think that's about right, Trace. Maybe a little bit older, actually.
And the answer is... Come on, give me an age. Give me an age. Give me an age. Give me an age. He's born in January 4th, 1994. She's 26.
Oh God.
So he's only 3 years older than me. Wow, yeah, he's 27. Or
26.
26, yeah, about to turn 27.
When you search for him on Google and just type in Josh Martinez, it says Josh Martinez, and then the short description.
How did he win Big Brother?
No, it's Canadian rapper.
Yeah. Also from Pat, if that's CT 10 years ago, what kind of shape is Josh coming out of that fight in?
Broken nose.
At the very least.
I mean, he inserted himself in a situation that he was not a part of, and he lied about. He lied straight to CT's face.
And it wasn't anything confrontational either. You know what I mean? It was like a playful conversation between Casey and CT.
And then the stuff with Devin, like he's legit like trying to like flip over security guards.
And he like dented the containers. He started like shadow boxing and punching the wall, and it was like, dude, chill. He's a loose cannon.
How old do you think Casey is?
Casey, she's like 31 probably, right?
I would say she's around the same age as Josh. I would have said she's 27 or 28.
She's 32. She's older than I am.
Wow.
She's older.
Which I would not have guessed.
I remember seeing her being older somewhere.
All right, last one. Fessy. Last one.
Oh, he's young. I would say he's 25.
Yeah, 25.
29.
No, he's got to be like 25. He's going to be like 26, 27.
29.
29, really?
I would not have guessed that dude was 29.
Well, you have to think about it, because, like, remember, he was almost an NFL tight end, and he was actually on, like, I think training camp squads for a little bit and stuff. And remember, Swaggy C was the youngest last year, famously, at the age of 25. So he was older than that at the very least.
Right,
that still blows my mind that the youngest person last year was 25 when Wes on Fresh Meat 1 was still 19.
Yeah.
Well, and then when Evelyn, the one that I think is crazy is that Evelyn's last season, I think we talked about this when we did the island. Evelyn's last season, she was younger or the same age than Swaggy C was last season when he was the youngest person on the cast.
Yeah,
that's
her
crazy.
Last season, she was 25. Isn't that crazy?
Well, Evelyn's like Kara's age now.
Yeah. Well, she was 18 on Fresh Meat 1, dude. Like, she literally had barely turned 18 and was eligible for the show, and there she is on Fresh Meat 1.
Yeah, it is just really funny just how much younger the cast used to be. I mean, now like Lolo and Natalie come in as these super high profile rookies, and they're up in their 30s.
Yeah, because Lolo's like 37, 38.
Yeah, she's up there.
How old is Nom?
He's also older. I think he's like 38,
I'm expecting
39.
Nom now to be the background on Devin's computer.
What's his last name?
V-O. He's 28.
Yeah.
Right,
he's 28. I thought he was way older.
One more, and then we're done. Tony Vlachos.
Oh, he's 49, something like that.
Yeah, like 51 maybe.
47.
Okay.
Just interesting.
Yeah, I believe it.
I can see that. Yeah, he's 28. He was born in Germany too.
Tony?
So
no, Nom, not Tony.
Yeah, Tony was definitely not born in Germany with that accent. So what did we think about the deliberation leading into the nomination? To me, and we kind of talked about it, Devin, while you were looking up the spreadsheet, I really think that Fessy laying those cards on the table, that the people that win the challenge of the day get to see how everybody votes, made that vote just garbage, and it was just really easy for everybody to pick Devin, because at that point everybody knew they couldn't lie.
He was also just needling everybody in the house, and he had no partner at the time, so there was no risk of like, well, what if we vote Devin and his partner goes in? They knew if they were voting him, it's not like they're going to put him without a partner. He's not going to put his non-existent female partner in. So that was just not a good look for him.
The double agents twist kind of sucks because it makes the private vote not private, you know? And I feel like you gain a lot more by having each individual's vote concealed than you do by letting two people know everyone else's votes.
See, I love it.
Yeah, I think I think maybe once it turns out, like we're not gonna guarantee the double agents are telling the truth with the votes.
Yeah, see, I love the idea of it. I just think Fessy was dumb to reveal it. Like, I just cannot wrap my head around the fact that he did that.
I mean, they're gonna find out like very soon.
Right, but don't lay it. It's reality TV. It's a competition. If you have an advantage that you know about and nobody else does, like, do you see somebody on Survivor? If you are able to look and get the information to know exactly how everybody votes, are you sharing that information?
Well, but like if Corey or Nelson win the next mission, the same thing is going to happen.
Sure, but at that point, Fessy can just talk to them and say, hey, here's what's going to happen. Keep it quiet. Like, there's so many ways to handle that. There's so many ways to handle it. It was just a bad move because he didn't tell the people in his alliance. He told the people working against him. That's what's so crazy to me.
That's what really
he told Wes
is that everyone found out at the exact same time or close to the exact same time when he could have benefited by people in his alliance knowing before other people throughout the house. It really doesn't seem.
I guess I just never saw the capability itself to do that as big of a deal as everybody else did.
It really seems like some of the people that we thought were going to be in really big danger at the start of the season are pretty safe for now. Like, I think Leo and Michi are in a good spot. And I think Gabby.
They haven't really looked at the rookies at all.
Like, not at all. And I think it's the old Survivor narrative of we need to send the winners home. That was really kind of the rallying cry for this season.
Jenna Lewis has been reincarnated this season.
And you don't see that very often on the challenge. And I think it's because there are typically more winners on a season than there were in season 3.
Definitely. And I mean, that hasn't really come up with Darrell at all. It's really only been CT and Wes.
I think a lot of the cast doesn't even know Darrell won.
They have to know Darrell won.
Seriously,
if this situation as it's played out, Wes has definitely told them Darrell has won 4 times in a row.
Okay, Darrell last one at Fresh Meat 1. He has not won a challenge since Fresh Meat 1.
How many years ago?
None of the new cast members. Oh gosh, that was 06, 07, 06 maybe. Oh, Inferno 2 was 05. So it's got to be 06, 07.
And also, like, Lolo knows he won too. She was on the show with him where he was only on because he was a champ.
Right, but there's tons of people on that cast that have no idea Darrell won the show.
Wes is definitely like writing it on the whiteboard when he's walking in with how much of a target he had that Darrell's won 4 times in a row.
Fessy was 15 years old the last time Darrell won one of these shows. I mean, I think people are probably aware of it, but he probably plays it off and was like, yeah, it was like a different game. They made us like eat ice cream and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Which is true.
Which is true.
They were eating baked beans and trying to get a key out with their mouth in the last season Darrell won. So,
do you think? I mean, yeah, because it will be curious when some of these girls get the opportunity to steal a partner who ends up being their target. What did we think about Devin taking Tori?
I think he should have taken Cam, but that's what
I think he should have taken Cam.
That's what Rob and I were talking about, Trace, that every guy should pretty much be taking Cam unless they're.
He should just be getting passed around constantly.
We thought it was going to.
You know what's so interesting? Go ahead.
We thought it was going to be Cam or Lolo. That's all that I was going to say.
Interesting. I would pick Lolo. I mean, even if she's a freaking dynamite blasting cap, physically, you got a real shot to win every daily with her. And I would be like, all right, if I want to get power, the best way to get power is to win the daily. So I want Lolo.
Yeah, I would just focus more so on the political connections at this point with the partner. So I would go with Cam. Whereas Lolo, you could even see her being targeted and you getting caught in the crossfire.
Maybe, but see, here's the thing, and we're actually going to settle this because in episode 1, we didn't cover it last week because we had Pat on and I just kind of forgot. The final is not going to be run in pairs. They might swap people around in different pairs because it is entirely possible that a partner could have a skull and the other partner makes it to the end without one because of the way they're throwing people into elimination.
That's a good point.
We have a vote.
So they might rotate it.
Yeah,
we also have a bet on that.
I thought it was funny that I thought it was funny that we both felt more confident about the Drew Lock bet than we did about the pairs in the finals bet. And for everyone at home,
yeah, I forgot about Carson Wentz being possibly traded, so that's not make me feel as good about the Drew Lock bet.
Rob and I have a bet that he thinks Drew Lock will be the starting quarterback week 1 for the Broncos in 2021, and I thought he was out of his mind. And to be fair, this was before this last week when Drew Lock almost
Jalen became a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, is one game going to switch up switch it up that much? Like, he could easily have a horrific game this weekend.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I thought he wasn't going to be the quarterback even before that. But you were coming, and I don't know how much this affected you. He was coming off of a game where he threw 4 interceptions, or excuse me, 4 touchdowns. So I mean, I thought I was out on him a long time ago, probably even longer, a month ago, dude. It's been
he really was
absolutely brutal. Like, if you look at
you were saying you were out on him before the season began,
dude. Like, he is just trash.
You thought every quarterback on your roster was trash, and you're not wrong.
Their best quarterback is Rippon. Like, I think Rippon
is he worse or better than Kendall Hinton?
I guess better.
You guess better than Kendall Hinton?
Like, if they had, so let's put it like this: if they had a month to practice where they knew that they weren't going to have a quarterback and they had to do something else, I don't know, dude. Like, they might be able to do like some Tebow style thing where they were more productive.
I think that's absolutely insane. Like that. I wish there was someone who could bet on that.
No, like, I don't think that. Like, he's just so bad. That's just what I'm trying to say. Like, he is absolutely terrible. Like, I don't. Do you think he'll be on a team next year?
Yeah.
Yes, he'll be on a team.
He's going to be starting for the Broncos week 1 next season.
Dude,
I don't think so.
Stop.
I think. Anyway, I don't even think that he's that much worse than Wentz. Wentz has been awful.
Dude, they're both terrible.
I don't.
They're both awful.
Maybe you'll just have a string of continually awful quarterbacks then.
Dude, it's been going on for 5 years.
Arm even won you a Super Bowl.
Dude, like, think about it. The last 5 years, who's been their best quarterback? They've had Simeon, Flacco, Keenum, Driscoll, Rippon, Locke, Paxton Lynch. Like, disgusting.
Osweiler, I guess.
It's like being a Washington football team fan right now.
No, Kirk and Smith have been better than their guys.
This is true. Anyway, we need to get back to the challenge. We can talk about football.
This will be the text thread all Sunday.
So to kind of close the episode, we've kind of already talked about it, but who do you think coming out of that elimination is in a better spot? Does Devin picking Tori put him in a better situation, or does he just kind of stay exactly where he was?
Did she? Like, it seemed like Corey was the one who was really like keeping that team involved.
I agree with you. I think Tori was a bad decision. Like, even though Natalie is got the deck stacked against her, if you said, okay, if you're going to pick Tori or Natalie, I would take Natalie at this point, or you go for Cam. Like, those are the two people you want.
I think, look, I just want whoever's in the best spot politically. I would take like next week. It's gonna be interesting to really see just who the guys that are going to be in demand are.
Well, all right, I'll give you one argument for why you don't go against Cam. Okay,
go with
you don't
Cam.
Cam. There's one big reason you don't. She will find a way to manipulate the vote so that she goes in when she thinks it's a female day, and you could get completely shut out of ever trying to get a skull, because she's not going to risk losing her skull if there's a twist and both people have to compete, or they do a double where it was like this week where we had 2 men a week in a row. But I don't think we were going to have men's eliminations 2 weeks in a row. I think Nicole's injury made them go, let's make it a male thing so we can get these numbers fixed up.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Devin while we were watching it too. That actually is a pretty good point. The one thing though is if she does win, I don't know what are the chances she stays with Devin after her winning.
I don't think anybody would want to pick her because she's not going to risk going back in. That's the thing. Like, as long as she doesn't have a skull, I'd say it's a 50-50 risk reward, because you might get lucky and get a shot at a skull. But if she gets to get a skull first, she's not going back down there. Even if she's not, she doesn't care about you.
Well, that's one thing I want to talk about too. How do we think that's going to play out? Do we think a lot of the partners are going to be working sort of in opposition then, once there's a few more skulls in play?
Yes, I do.
Because I mean, we're going to see a lot of situations where one partner has the skull and one doesn't, and they're not going to know which type of day it is once they're voting.
Yeah, I mean that's
Maybe
kind of what
they're,
we
like,
have right
voting
now
themselves in.
because because like who's got a skull now? It's Devin, Natalie, and Kyle. Those are the three. Would you have called at the beginning of the season? Those would be the first three people with skulls.
I think, yeah. And it's once you saw the team,
Natalie,
it's just that alliance has just been so much on the outs.
Natalie kind of makes sense, but at the same time, we didn't expect Wes to get thrown in, so I don't think we would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Well, I think those three as a threesome kind of makes sense, just because we had an idea that all three of them would be working together, and they've just been so much so like they've just been so much like the target so far. It is interesting that he voted for Tori and Corey, and now he takes Tori as his partner.
It is interesting.
I really don't know. I really think I would have picked somebody with a little bit higher equity. I just didn't see. Maybe Tori has more connections than we know, but she didn't really seem like somebody who had been.
I feel like in previous seasons she has. This season, it seems like she really doesn't.
Maybe, and I mean, maybe the move too is, since you have your skull, take Natalie and just be like, look, we are keeping our heads down, and as I know I'm the one who usually gets in trouble, but we're going to keep our heads down as much as possible and just not go back in elimination.
But see, I think that is a mistake there, because if you both have skulls, it makes it really easy to throw you in if the skulls run out and there's still eliminations. Like, it makes it really easy to go, well, let's break that up. Like that to me does. I mean, there's no right answer right now at the beginning of the game. Yeah. I don't think. I think there's too many X factors. As we get towards halfway, I think the choices will be a lot easier to make. Right now, there's still a lot of haze going on. One more topic that I want to bring up before we do our weekly stuff. Do we feel like it was a mistake or a good decision for Leroy not to go in against Devin? I have my thoughts, but I'm curious about yours.
I think I was fine with it either way.
With the benefit of hindsight, probably a good idea he didn't. He would have given him a run for his money.
I think he would have beaten Devin pretty easily in that. You don't think so? He weighs so much more than Devin.
Leroy? I don't know.
I definitely think Leroy's way stronger.
I think Leroy wins that elimination against Devin pretty easily.
I do too, but I also understand the argument for why he wouldn't, because his partner is currently Casey. There is a high probability that they're going to win another daily and he's going to get another shot at it. The thing that kind of blows me off though, a little bit.
Bread and butter here if he's not going to take a physical elimination against Devin.
The big picture is you need a skull. Who else on the male cast is Leroy going to go one-on-one with and win a skull? Is Leroy going to beat CT heads up?
He's got some good
options. I think he's got a decent shot against most of this cast. I think outside of CT and Fessy and Darrell, he's
But see, I think he had the best shot against Devin, who's left.
Yeah, I know. I think let's say it's like Michi, maybe.
Michi and Leo, just because Leo's smaller.
I don't know. I think that's probably what he's hoping for, is that he gets one of them. But
it's just so unrealistic. He has been like in a really clean spot, so maybe he's just really waiting for that ideal position. But yeah, if he's not going to take Devin in what appears to be a physical elimination, like I don't see. I just don't see what else. And he knew he was voting in West too, so it's not like he could have circled the wagons around West. And then, like, who else is that week on the guy side here? Josh. Like, Josh is at least big.
He would. Yeah, I don't think he would have beaten him in that.
Yeah, Josh is so tall. That would have been. I mean, Josh would have been slower.
Underestimating how big Leroy is.
I mean, Leroy's a big dude, but
he's been good. I mean, he's been good in physical eliminations for the most part.
Dude, I don't know. Like, I think Josh would probably beat him in that, or it'd be close. I think Josh is way bigger than him.
The only thing that could be different is Josh would be slower because he's bulkier, and I just don't know that. I think Leroy would be faster. But I feel like he missed an opportunity because Devin was probably, other than, I guess, Meacham, there's no other layup really on the guy's side. You know, like Devin's not a layup, but he's probably the easiest of the bunch that's left. And if I'm looking at Devin there and it's physical, I'm going to take my chances because he himself said his
Trace, you cut out again.
Okay, well, what I was saying was I'm looking at Devin down there and it's physical. I'm taking that risk because I don't want to take a physical risk if it's Darrell. I don't want to take a physical risk if it's CT. I don't want to take a physical risk if it's Fessy. If it's physical, which it appeared to be, and you've got Devin standing there, I'm taking that shot.
Because even him versus like Nelson or Corey is very like Nelson has a very good track record in eliminations too. So even against either of them, that's definitely a very close match. And
yeah,
I think his track people have kind of considered him pretty disappointing, Leroy. But I mean, if you look back, so War of the Worlds 2, I mean, he's on the team that wins every mission, and he doesn't do anything wrong that season at the very least. World of the Worlds 1, he has Shailene as a partner, so like, what are you gonna do? Dirty 30, he loses to Hunter in elimination, and that's not like it's not a bad feat. Vendettas, he actually beats Brad in that elimination towards the final, where Brad does have his equipment be faulty, but even still, that's definitely a good win.
And people forget he beat Bananas twice.
What was that?
And people forget he beat Bananas twice in X's 2.
Unbelievable on that elimination on X's 2, where they're using the rope and climbing down the column.
And then he also beat him in like was it like pole wrestle or something equivalent to that?
Yeah, it was the X Battle, which is just basically
X Battle.
Yeah. So
I mean, Leroy's elimination record is really, really good. And I'm like, dude, take your shot at Devin. You're not going to get gift. It's not a gift wrap because Devin's not a pushover, but if it's physical against him, you got a really good shot considering your track record.
That was just really weird from Wes, right?
What? I don't know. I don't.
Do we think he just didn't put anything into it, or what do we think happened? He just didn't have it. He just didn't win. Like he just straight up didn't win.
I think that's part of it. I don't know. Some of it could be. Yeah, I mean, I think he just didn't win. I think if I had to put my money on what actually happened, that's probably what I would bet.
Yeah, I think it was mental. Like, I just think he didn't really think he was going in, and he just kind of felt defeated that he was down there. And I think he beat himself before that elimination started.
Yeah, I think it was weird afterwards too. Usually he's very gracious in defeat, and he's like taking shots at Leroy on the way out. And like, I mean, look, he and Leroy have been on better terms lately, which is why I thought they would work together. But like, I mean, on Rivals 2, he schemes the house to vote in and Leroy. And then X's 2, he puts Leroy in against Johnny, like at the first chance he gets. Like, it's not like he and Leroy have had the best relationship throughout the entire time on the show. And
I think the difference is Wes was straight up with Leroy what he was doing. It wasn't like he was doing it behind Leroy's back. He's like, "Hey, here's what I'm doing."
Yeah, but Leroy doesn't know Wes isn't not being underhanded.
Okay, you're not wrong there.
Like he's probably under the assumption that even though I think if you look back at Wes's track record, it's a lot more straight up than people give him credit for. Leroy doesn't know that Wes isn't trying to do certain things that would be working against him. And I mean, at that point in the game, he probably was like they were on different sides of the house from all intents and purposes. And I just thought that was odd. And then like the stuff about like not voting in your friends, like look, he has gone against his friends before. Like that's not. He's somebody who does. Again, typically play a relatively straightforward game, but that hasn't been absolutely gone from his MO.
No, I don't know.
I thought that was very. I just think with him, it was really like. I think he was really prepping for this season. Like he had a very good chance to win, and then I think he just showed up, and it just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I think he was.
I think you're right.
Doomed from the start.
Yeah.
I think.
So what do we think happens? I guess if we want to do winner picks, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You want to start us off?
I really am liking Natalie more and more as the weeks go on. I think she's just such a complete competitor. I'll stick with Cam number 1, then Natalie. Number 3, I just have no weight in any direction here.
I'm on board. You know you want to. Come on. It's okay.
I have no. That's never been how I pick players. Really, I'm just not. I think athleticism can get pretty overrated sometimes for its importance.
Come on, jump on board, Rob.
In the room. I'll stick with Teresa still.
Okay, and then
for the men, the men I'll go Darrell 1, Leroy 2, CT 3. Then overall,
your men and women are identical for
I'm not,
the last 2 weeks.
I'm not. I really don't feel great about that third female pick at all. I feel really good about Cameron and Natalie. I just don't have anybody else I like in that 3 spot.
All right, go ahead.
Then overall, I'll go, Cam 1, Natalie 2, Darrell 3. Just stick with what I had before.
Okay. Trace, the floor is yours.
Yeah, this is tough because I don't remember what I said last week.
I had Nani number 2 last week.
You had Darrell, Nom, CT for the men. For the women, you had Natalie, Nani, Casey, and then overall you had Darrell, Nom, CT.
You know, that was what was in my head again, and I'm just gonna stick with what I had last week. I'm
Nani
not buying
number 2, dude.
I really am. I know she's not getting a lot of screen time right now, and she's now attached to Josh, which is like really not a good thing for her. She's like, he's my ride or die, and I'm like, yeah, but he's not going to help you win either. There's just something about the way the politics of this season are shaping up where it really is a game where if she makes the final against the right people, she could win it, but I don't think she's the favorite. Casey, I just feel like overall is in a good political spot and physically can get it done. But I think Natalie right now, just physically and politically, has the best chance until more information is presented. So I like that. Darrell, I still think if that dude goes in elimination, it's hard for me to pick against him. And if he makes a final, it's hard for me to pick against him again because every time he makes a final, he wins. I know it was a different show back then.
I really hope we can keep re-upping on this Darrell versus Nom bet, Devin. Like, I want Darrell versus Nom in elimination.
So, and Rob, you don't even want to, just real quick, you don't even want to put Casey over Teresa? You think Teresa has a better chance than Casey at this point?
I've always had a hard time visualizing Casey winning for some reason. I mean, that's just like a mental block I need to get over.
I think it could easily happen. If she doesn't,
she could win. She was the other person I was thinking about for that spot, but I just didn't feel confident enough in it.
And see, I feel like Teresa could win though. Like I think I remember watching X's 2 when it was airing and thinking Wes and Teresa were going all the way. Like it just the way the show was edited, the way they were performing.
They were doing, I think.
I mean, I was just like, Wes and Teresa have this on lockdown. There is no team that's going to beat them in the final.
Her and Jay really haven't done anything so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
I just think she has so much more of an upside to her than Nani. Like she could definitely just flame out entirely and like be gone next episode, lose an elimination to pretty much anybody. Like there's definitely a lot of a downside to her, but I just think she has an upside there as well.
I'm interested to see how she'll perform because we really just haven't seen enough of her yet. I know my wife is not nearly the athlete Teresa is, but after seeing what has happened to my wife after having a child in terms of how your body, your energy, and all that stuff changes, I know Teresa's a real athlete, like a legit college athlete. And so it's a different thing with her. But having 2 kids, all that kind of stuff, I just don't think we have enough of a sample size to see if she's the Teresa of X's 2 or if this is we're just going to have to see what happens throughout the season.
It's going to be hard to evaluate that until we probably get a little bit deeper into the season and then out of people.
I feel like she's got a giant question mark on her still. If she had not had 2 kids, I feel like I would easily have her in the top 3. But
it's not even that. I mean, it's just been a while. Like without anything, like it's been a while. I mean, we haven't seen it since X's 2. That was before 2015.
Yeah, I just need a bigger sample size, and so it's hard to call her a favorite until we know more information.
All right, I'm gonna go Nom, Darrell, Fessy. So that's gonna stay unchanged. And by no means do I think like Nom is some like huge favorite over Darrell either. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to.
What puts him ahead of Darrell for you? Like what does he have that Darrell doesn't?
Like Darrell's kind of old. You know what I mean? You know what I mean at this point? Like how old is Darrell?
I mean, he's old. He's up there.
Probably 38. He's probably a little older than I am.
I think he's older than that.
Darrell, no, he's definitely. I think he's the oldest person on the cast.
Let's see.
He is 41.
Okay, so he is the oldest person on the cast. Okay.
You know what I mean? You lose and that doesn't mean I don't think he isn't in great shape. You know, you just lose a little bit of heat on the fastball after a while.
Yeah, but we've at least like seen him do a ton of stuff and be dominant somewhat recently.
I think Nam is going to be dominant too. He was on, like, he won the show that is pretty much has challenges in
He
a
didn't
similar
win
way.
Ultimate Beastmaster.
I thought someone said that he won. No?
No, he went like I think he made the final. I don't know what did that even mean? Dude, that's a one. But also, that's not even like a serialized show. That's just like it's episodic.
He is also, I think physically, I think he's going to be let me look at the guys who are left. Who's left right now? The only people that I think are close to him so I think physically, I think he's going to be really good. He has that good combination.
He was fifth on his episode of Beastmaster.
He has a really good combination.
He was fifth in the first, and I apologize. He did end up in second. I apologize. Out of the 12 people,
he has that good combination of being good physically in eliminations, challenges, and a potential final too.
We haven't seen him do any of that. Like, we can project that onto him. We haven't seen him do any of it.
This is the same thing as last year with Jenny. I've seen enough. Like, I've seen enough of him competing and his track record in the show that he came from that he's going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be fine, Rob. I'm telling you right now.
If he goes up against Nelson, what's the line you're setting?
I think Nam's going to win. He's way taller than Nelson, isn't he? Nelson's not that tall.
Yeah, Nelson's not that tall. But Nelson's also like, you've seen him go into eliminations and like have that killer mentality that he's ready to go. We've seen Jenny go into elimination, and her first elimination she loses. Or not her first elimination, I'm sorry, but her first physical one.
What's Nelson's last name?
Thomas.
Yeah, you're right. Because Nam is 6'2".
When you're getting hit, it's different versus just being an athlete.
I mean, at a certain point, like, there's only like there's not much you can do when someone's so much bigger than you. You know what I mean? If it like, would you be surprised if I told you Nelson was 5'8"?
I think he's yeah, because Hunter's 5'8", and I know he's taller than Hunter.
We should put a post on here. I'm going to put a post on Reddit.
Somebody has a bunch of these heights. There's like a Twitter account that has a lot of them.
Here, I'm going to put it right now. Hopefully someone responds to us before we wrap this up.
They say he's 6'2".
Who, Nelson?
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way. He's not as tall as CT.
No, he doesn't seem like he's 6'2". That seems like it's wrong.
Is that in one of those threads?
No, this is on some celebrity website or whatever. I think I would be confident in Nelson going up against Nam. I mean, I could be wrong, but like, we have not. It's different when you're getting hit versus just performing other physical competitions, and it's different when you're even just doing like the weird stuff you have to do on this show.
We're gonna have to disagree on this one. So I've seen enough there. I'm going back to that spreadsheet. All right, so Nam, Darrell, Fessy. I almost want to put Fessy ahead of Darrell. But the thing is, if they get in a final, Darrell's going to beat him in a final. And that's why I think
if they're in a final right now, would you take Nam over Darrell?
Yeah, probably, but I think it's close. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Nam's going to go out there and like scorch him. But it seems...
I think Darrell would absolutely dust him in a final.
Nah, like, I don't think so. Why do you think he would dust him?
We haven't even seen the guy run.
That's what I mean. So why are you telling me that you think he's going to dust him then?
Because we've seen Darrell run and be a good in finals, like very good.
Oh, dude, I'm putting my money on him.
If I've seen Patrick Mahomes throw a football, and then you take some random jabroni who has a strong arm and say, "Hey, throw this football," am I going to project him to be as good as Patrick Mahomes? No.
This is what it is, and it's the same thing as it was last season. You can tell a lot about a competitor based off of the way that other people in the house talk about them, and you could tell that with Jenny last season, and you can tell that with Nam this season about.
I mean, with Nam just saying hot.
Put them on. What?
They've just said Nam's attractive.
No, they also think that he's great physically. I'm putting,
we'll see.
And I that's really what it is. The like intuitive whatever intuitive projection that I have on Nam and Lolo, that's ultimately what it comes down to, is what other people in the house say about them and kind of where they mentally put them within the competitors within the house, or where they kind of project them as overall players. So for guys, Nam, Jarrell, Fessy. For the women, I'm going to switch Natalie and Casey.
It's funny, you weren't even that big on Natalie when she was casted on the show.
No, not at all. I've come around. I've definitely come around.
Yeah, I think she's very well-rounded. And she's somebody where, like, again, just coming from a Survivor, I think she just has a lot more of the track record with doing that, like, weird stuff you have to know how to do. And obviously politically, too.
Lolo, Natalie, Casey. Do we all have Natalie in our top 3?
Yeah,
I think
funny. I'm coming out here as do you have her number 2, Devin?
Yeah, and you have her 2
Okay.
too.
I have her 2 as well. Yeah,
I think I have her 1.
And then overall, I'll go Lolo. I almost want to go Lolo, Natalie, Nam, to be honest.
I mean, you've been all hyped aboard the Nam train, so
I'll stay the same. So I'll go Lolo, Nam. No, I'm going to change it slightly. Lolo, Nam, Natalie. So Natalie makes it into my top 3 this week. All right, let's do this.
It's funny how you put Natalie, who's won Survivor and has clearly shown the ability to like handle herself politically, with Wes, who is again showing himself to be very capable politically, and they're by far the number 1 targeted team from the start. Just in that, like, you can have as much strategic and political acumen as you want, but there's just sometimes there's just nothing you can do.
Can you pull up that email that someone asked us? Or I can't. I'm typing something really quick.
The email?
Yeah, we had one. I think we have one to read. That was from a couple of weeks ago, so I wanted to read it now.
Did you favorite it?
Yeah. Whenever we have one that we need to read, I try and leave it as unread, but I thought it'd be easier just to start starting.
13 days ago? That seems like it's long.
Say that again?
It's 13 days ago.
Yeah, let it rip.
Okay, this is from Paul Shaler. He's commenting about the champs versus as spin-offs, which is a pretty ongoing debate within the challenge community. He says he doesn't think they should count because they are spin-offs, and Spring Break Challenge shouldn't count either. If we're looking at the NBA, if you have a time machine and sent the Heat, who lost the finals this season, and sent them back into the 60s, they would dominate, win titles. And that anybody from that time might not win with the current format. So while stuff might be easier, those titles in the 60s would still count. The spin-offs to me are like the Olympics. The Dream Team from 1992 is quite possibly the greatest team ever assembled, but those stats don't count. They were playing at an incredibly high level. The fact is, it doesn't matter how high the level of the competition it was. It's a spin-off, not a real season. Don't like the Olympics now, to look at the All-Star games. They're their own thing, not part of the regular season. And this is sort of where I come from too. I think we can definitely use them to evaluate how good they are as competitors, but we just can't count the statistics themselves as part of the real show.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or did we talk about that last week?
It is interesting with the historical comparison stuff in sports and in the challenge. I think the way you have to look at it is just that they have modern training equipment available to them if they were today.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at it within its own context.
Like, is it really fair to like take John Havlicek and Bill Russell and then say, okay, obviously, like they're way underweight and undersized and just under exercised compared to, like, again, like the Miami Heat team that lost the finals this year. But if we gave them a similar training resources, it would probably be a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, you can say the same thing too about the Jordan LeBron debate, because there are going to be people that say Jordan was the greatest ever, and there are going to be people that say LeBron was the greatest ever, but we're never going to actually be able to settle that argument because they didn't play against each other. I mean, you can compare the track record and you can compare the talent they played against, but you can't definitively declare one better than the other because they just played in completely different eras of the NBA, even though they were only 15 years apart.
No, I mean, Jordan came into the league in 84 and LeBron was 2003. So there was, 19 years apart. And Jordan, I guess he had a long career, but he also took a year and a half off to play baseball. So it's kind of hard to say how. And he actually retired twice because he retired after that 16.
And then he came back on the Wizards.
Came back again on the Wizards, yeah. So it's kind of hard to say how to compare their careers like that. It's just it's just one of those things where it's all based around projections. So you're
it's subjective. It's very subjective.
It's funny to me too when people take NBA 2K, which whose ratings are absolutely god awful, and then run simulations on that and be like, oh look, see, LeBron's better or Jordan's better. It's that's what that system projects as better, not who actually is better.
Completely. And I'm with him. I actually really like his analogy of saying the All-Star game doesn't count as this and this and that. It's a great analogy. So bravo to that email. Bravo.
The Olympics is hard just because the U.S. teams are so much better basketball-wise. But if you look at it from a different sports perspective, like soccer, for example, they're playing it typically at as high or even higher of a level of competition as they would in their domestic leagues. But again, it's just different things.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say definitively, though, is that the original Dream Team is still the coolest, in my opinion, biggest star power team that was ever in existence. I mean, legend.
I cannot get enough
legend.
I'll pick any and all Dream content.
I mean, I love that original Dream Team. I remember that was what made me fall in love with basketball, was that Dream Team.
How old were you then, Trace? Let's see, if you're 37.
I was 8. And so this is so we've now officially gone longer than the episode. So I feel like it's okay, because if you're still with us, you really like us at this point. I remember that back in 92, you have to remember that NBC was the only place to watch the Olympics. You could not turn on USA or CNBC or any other thing. There was NBC, and then there were 3 pay-per-view channels you had to pay for it for the 92 Olympics. And so you never got to see unedited anything. You couldn't watch things live. They never showed things live. You only got edited together stuff. So they would only show highlights of the Dream Team in prime time. The full game would play at 1 a.m. And at the time, my family had this little 3-inch black and white TV that we used when the power went out.
3 inches.
And I remember,
how is that? That's not real.
It was
3
dude.
inches.
It was just bigger than it was just barely bigger than the size of the original Game Boy screen. Okay.
What?
And this is how small this black and white TV was.
Still in existence?
And it still might exist in my parents' storage unit. It ran on 6D batteries, and it had a little antenna on it, and I could get NBC in perfect black and white, no fuzzy. And I remember waking up at midnight and turning that TV on so my parents didn't know I was awake, and watching the unedited Dream Team games. So that is a marker that I vividly remember.
Be like Angola and Slovakia by 70 points or whatever it is.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things where it was such people who are younger than me don't understand the cultural phenomenon that was that first Dream Team. I mean, McDonald's was giving away basketball cards with every meal. I actually still have all the Dream Team basketball cards from that McDonald's set. Yeah, I had them all.
Even Christian Leitner?
I have them all, man. Even the coach.
Even
Patino.
Oh, it's not.
Or no,
who was the coach?
It wasn't Patino.
The Pistons coach.
Was it Kay?
The whole thing with them and the Isaiah Thomas stuff.
That's right. And so I just that Dream Team was a big deal, and the subsequent Dream Teams after that have been a big deal. But the first, Larry Bird, Jordan, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Magic Johnson, whether they were in their prime or not, that team, except for Christian Leitner, was astounding. Anyway, there's my love affair with the Dream Team.
All right.
So
I'm going to read.
We ready to wrap this up?
I'm going to read. So, well, first of all, if you ever want to send us an email and have us talk about it, you can reach us at the Challenge Chronicles at gmail.com. I should also say that if you want to buy a t-shirt, I know this is the season of giving, you can go to our store at bigdubdiesel.com, DUBB, 2 B's, and get your own Challenge Chronicle t-shirts. I think there's some masks there. I think there's some other stuff that you can get too. And then
tote bags, even.
Tote bags, whatever you want. It's on us. And
it's not on us. No, it has.
You're paying for it, but we have created it.
It's not on us. We are on it.
So for everyone that's left, so we have gotten a lot of reviews in the iTunes store, which I greatly appreciate since we started to do this contest. But I've noticed that a lot of them, I don't know if people have not left an actual comment with their information on it or whatever, but if you would like us to be in the running to win a free t-shirt for the end of the year, give us some way for us to get a hold of you somehow.
Yep.
Even at this point,
Twitter handle or Gmail.
Yeah, just something, because
and we will read the winning review, and if it doesn't have a name, because I'm just going to do a random spreadsheet randomizer, and so if it doesn't have a name on it, you're going to need to email us proof that you did it. So, we'll figure that out if we have to cross that bridge. But if you haven't left us a review yet, please leave a Twitter handle or just some way that we know it's you, so that we can officially award you your prize if you happen to win.
Or if you don't want to leave that, I guess you could email us with your review showing that you were the one that left it. That's fine too.
Indeed. Yep. So you have exactly 7 days left. It's December 24th. The contest closes at 11:59 on 12/31.
We need to work on our promo again. These things are always so.
Yeah, we do it at the last hour or the last minute of the show. I want to read this.
I'll edit this, Devin. I'll edit this and just put this at the front.
Okay. I want to read this message from Tony on Instagram. For everyone asking if I'll ever do at MTV Challenge again, here's what it'll take. 1, I get to bring my family. 2, well, first of all, have you guys seen this yet?
No,
yes, I saw it.
I don't know what you're referring to. I'm
Tony time. Tony time, Tony.
2, I know the final consists of only eating. 3, at MTV Devin and at Kyle G. Shore are on the season. 4, MTV pairs me and at Real Johnny Bananas up again so we can get redemption for what happened on Final Reckoning. 5, Fessy's name on the challenge gear is replaced with pussy with a cat emoji. Do they even know each other?
Oh,
have they met?
No, I think no. He's been doing a lot of Challenge Mania recaps with Derek and Scott, and so he's really plugged into what's happening on screen. And I'm sure he talks to his friends off screen as well.
Yeah, he still keeps. I think he still keeps in pretty frequent touch with Devin and Kyle, obviously, and then Johnny and Wes.
Yeah.
All right.
Indeed.
Well, thank you for listening, everyone. We'll be back again next week for our recap of episode 4. We said it before. You can reach us at thechallengechronicles@gmail.com. Enter the contest and leave an iTunes review. Get your t-shirt at bigdubdiesel.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.